Hey guys, it's Kayla and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things emo scene and everything in between. Today I'm back and I'm telling you guys a little bit about what it was like for me to tell my parents that I'm emo scene. A lot of you guys have actually asked me a little bit about what this was like and kind of like what it was like growing up, being emo scene, since I've been doing this for a really long time. And so I just thought I would share a little bit about what it was like telling my mom and I guess like trying to explain to them what being emo scene was like. So for a little background, I have been dressing this way since I was probably about 11 or 12. I discovered it when I was about 10. So I usually use that as like a base mark of like when it began and kind of go from there. And the signs were definitely there right at the beginning. I was super into the music, and so I was going to be listening to this a lot more than like any of my other stuff. Instead of listening to my parents' music, I was listening to new music, like more emo music, and I was definitely getting involved in it that way. But of course, with that comes wanting to change my style, and I was obsessed with scene queens and wanted to have scene hair so badly. And I remember trying to show my mom and explain a little bit about what it is that I was wanting to do with my hair and my style. And that really was a little bit of an interesting conversation to have at such a young age. I would show my mom pictures of scene queens and I would be like, I want to look like this. And of course she was immediately super confused because she had never seen like the stripes in the hair before or like knew anything as far as like dyeing my hair, and the choppy layers were super intimidating as well. And I'm positive at first glance she saw it and was immediately freaked out. Showing her the scene style was a lot. She definitely was like taken aback by all of the different things that were with the hair. I don't think the makeup freaked her out as much. It was darker, but I wasn't really playing around with makeup too much at that point. I was really focused on hair. And so I feel like she definitely off the bat was like, nope, you're not doing that with your hair. She clocked it immediately. But I tried then to explain to her what like being seen was and kind of going through like what that meant as a style. And also, I'm like 11, so I'm giving her like an 11-year-old's interpretation of scene culture. And so it's not even like the best understanding that I even have of it. And I'm sitting here trying to explain it to my mom in a way that's like, let me do this to my hair. Let me do this to my clothes. Let me look this way. And she's immediately just like, what? Now, I'm super grateful to have a very understanding and supportive family, and they 100% do not care about how I look now. They are very supportive of it, and they, support everything that I do as far as any of this. But back then, it did come off a lot as like being like, whoa, to my mom, because she'd never seen it before. And so she immediately was just like, no, but she wasn't like hateful towards it. She didn't immediately put the style down or make me feel bad for thinking it was interesting. She just said no, and then explained that, I wouldn't be able to do that for school. She gave me other reasons, which wasn't great, but it was something that still made me feel like I could do that style at some point in my life. She didn't completely and totally discourage me from it. And I think that that's really important because you don't want to feel bad for having an interest in something. Like, she didn't make me feel bad for thinking scene hair was cool. She didn't drag me into church and think that I need like some sort of help or like an exorcism or something because I was like, whoa, black lipstick. Like, she wasn't over dramatic about it. And I think that that really did help me a lot in my experience. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't get that. Their parents are super strict and they are offended whenever you show them this kind of style. And so it can kind of go the other way. If your parents are supportive, usually showing them this kind of stuff isn't necessarily going to be something that they, put down. They may just tell you, no, not right now, which I think was a better answer for me at the time. Now, I had convinced my mom to walk into Hot Topic, and she would let me get select items from there. Now, because I was more scene than emo, these items were a little bit more appealing to her because they were more childlike. Candy bracelets or just like, brighter colored things. Those don't seem as spooky as having, all of the black and all of the everything else. So I think that she was a little bit more accepting of that. And I would get like bows and stuff, like different things from Hot Topic, and she would let me get those, and those would be great little accessories I could have. But that was the extent of what I was able to purchase at that time in a Hot Topic. Anything that had a skull on it, she was not letting me get. Anything that was like super black, I don't think she was letting me get. Like, she wasn't letting me dress that way yet. Now, I will say, as I got older, like as I was getting into like later years and starting high school, she let me dress however like really I wanted, like within reason. And I think that that was super great, but at the time, no. She would only let me get a couple things from Hot Topic, and I was dressing more scene, a lot brighter. It wasn't as scary, and I definitely did not have colored hair or anything like that. She did take me to get my first scene haircut, but it really was just getting layers put in my hair and like some cool bangs. I still will never forget it though. It was amazing and super supportive, and it was great. And I will say that my hair then versus now is like two different things. Like my hair now is so much better, but it was cool that I got to have that hair then, and it wasn't colored or anything, but at least it had some sort of layers to it, and I could attempt to tease it up. But I was so bad at teasing my hair that it didn't even matter that I had layers, because I teased it so terribly. Like it was just so bad. Like it looked awful. But it was the fact that she at least tried, and at this point it had been years of me, you know, pushing this style towards her. So at that point she was kind of caving in, which was really good. But she wasn't, like I said, like mean about it or anything, but she did take me to get my hair cut. And again, it was cut like the scene style, but like within reason. It was like a dyed down version of it, you know what I mean? It wasn't anything like it is today. When I got older, my mom, she really was more supportive of it. I mean, she would take me in a Hot Topic, and I would get all of my back to school clothes from there. At this point, it was a lot of band tees, a lot of things like that, a lot of like acid wash skinny jeans or black skinny jeans or anything that had like distress on it. You know, I was getting that. She was letting me get wristbands and other jewelry from Hot Topic. At this point, I wasn't like picking out things with skulls on it for myself necessarily. I was like super into my band tees. So that was fine, but I think even if I got like one or two things that had skulls on it, like she would have been fine with that too. She kind of at that point was a lot more accepting of my style. At this point, I'm in my sophomore, junior year of high school, and like so much time has passed. I've been pushing this style at her since I was like 10 years old. You know, she's got it. She understands that this is how I want to dress. So she's not shocked she's in Hot Topic buying my back to school clothes, and it really doesn't matter to her as long as my grades are good and I'm doing what I need to do and I'm staying out of trouble. And I was. So since I was doing all those things, you know, I was being able to express myself pretty freely. She would let me dye my hair to an extent. It definitely wasn't in a way that I could like damage it, but she would let me get like extensions and I could dye those, or I could dye like my hair, but it had to be like without bleaching my hair, which is kind of hard to do. It was really difficult with it being brown hair, but she did give me a lot of freedom that way and being able to just like dress emo scene at that point. It did take years though. That's what I want to mention about all of this. Notice how it starts at the age of 10 and like takes me until being like, you know, 14, 15. That's the point when I'm freely getting to do a lot of this stuff. And even then, I'm still not dyeing my whole head of hair. Like, she's not letting me do that. I'm not getting like face piercings. She's not letting me do that. There's a lot of things that she wasn't necessarily letting me do. Like, I can do whatever I want with my makeup, but I can't like go beyond certain things, you know? I guess the best way to describe how all this happens is like I did slowly just kind of put the idea of how I wanted to dress and be in her head. I just showed her like this is the style that I like, and over time like reaffirmed it by like showing her this over and over again, being like this is hair that I like, this is clothes that I like, this is stuff I want to wear, and just showing her over and over. And like, yeah, in the beginning she was super hesitant. Like she wasn't letting me do a lot with any of my hair or anything like that. But I think that over time, you know, she allowed me to do things, and I think it was age appropriate too. Like at 10 years old, I don't need to have seen hair necessarily. As much as I would have loved it as a 10-year-old, I understand why she would have looked at that and been like, no, you know, like I get that completely. And now that I'm an adult, I can reflect back on a lot of the decisions that she made for me, and I can kind of like understand how she came to those. Like getting a bunch of face piercings probably would not have been a good idea for me at the age of 12, because I probably would have gotten stuff that I didn't like, or maybe I wouldn't have taken care of it the way that I needed to and it would have gotten infected. Or like, what if I had scars because I took it out? Like, these are all things that you don't think about because you're young, and like now that you're older, like you can make a more informed decision that's going to be better for you. So I am grateful that she didn't let me do certain things like that. I will say she totally could have let me dye my hair. I feel like that would have been fine. And like the cutting it in the emo scene way, I feel like would have been okay too. But I get why at 10 years old that would have been a lot. But really, I think that the best way that she could have done anything for me was just to be supportive and listen to me. And she 100% did that. And I get that a lot of people don't have that in their families. I'm super grateful to have that with mine. But I just want to let you know that like, even if you're not getting that support, like it still doesn't change the fact that like how you feel about how you want to present yourself, like it's still valid. You're able to have these things and like these desires in the way that you want to dress. And if you're not allowed to express yourself now, I always say, you know, like wait it out. And I know that that like sucks to hear if you're younger, because I'm sure that you don't want to wait it out. But like literally, like if you wait, it will change and you will be able to dress however you want. So it really is just a matter of time on this thing. Anyways, some people have super accepting parents and they would have let them do all of those things at the age of 10 and beyond that. So I'm just saying, you never really know where you fall in the spectrum of your parents and where they are as far as how strict they are. But yeah, I would just show them that all of this is not scary. I think that the main part of dressing emo scene or just alternative in general is that a lot of people are scared of it because they associate it with bad things. And I think that you just would have to show then that's not the case. Like, I think the reason that my mom was so okay with me dressing this way is because I showed her over the years that I was interested in this, and it didn't change me as a person. Like, I was still me, but you know, it like these were things I was interested in. And I think that she was more willing to let me express myself when I got older because she saw that it wasn't having a negative impact on me. And that's another whole other thing with like negative stereotypes in the emo scene community. Like, if you adopt those and you show them to your family, then obviously they're not going to be supportive of that. So that's why I've just always expressed that it's important to be yourself and to, like, you know, be positive, to take care of yourself mentally, to do all of the things that you need to do, and also not fall for those emo stereotypes, and just kind of live your life and be happy, but still dress and express yourself the way that you want to, and maybe show it in a way that's not so intimidating, so that way your family isn't freaked out. Anyways, this is just a short little video telling you a little bit more about me and my experience in all of this, but also just encouraging you to maybe talk to your family and see the way that they can support you in this. And if they're not supporting you in it, just know that in time things will definitely get better. So just hold on to that. I promise it is coming. If you like videos like this, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when I post. Also, make sure that you leave a like on this video and comment below letting me know, has your parents, like, do they know about your style? Are they accepting of it? Like, let me know how your family feels about the way that you express yourself. I'm super curious. But yeah, I am going to go ahead and skedaddle. Remember to stay safe, make good choices, and remember that you're awesome. I love you guys. Mwah. Bye.